Welcome, Miller's Monsters. I am Mr. Beelzebub. Behind me is Edgar P. the Scully, and this is our new co-host tryout, the Crawling Handsy. So he'll be hanging around, I guess. Ow! Stop it. No, just behave. So let's talk about the true story of the Amityville horror. And obviously, stop, please. Just, you're supposed to crawl. Go crawl over there. Well, there's some true and a whole lot of what seems to be false about this story. Let's start with the true. And unfortunately, we're going to start on a down note here. The true is on November 13th, 1974. There was a mass murder in the house, and the perpetrator, Ronald J. DeFeo Jr., murdered his parents and 4 siblings in this house with a shotgun. And at first he tried to plead that he heard voices that told him to do it. I think they were going for an insanity plea, and this kind of lent to, oh my God, this house is haunted. But on his story changed several times. At one point it was a mobster did it and made him watch, until finally he confessed to the killings. And Ronald had a very tough life. He was addicted to drugs and all that, so that likely led into this story as well, or him perpetrating these killings. And so he was sentenced to consecutive, oh my goodness, I don't know, I think it was 5 concurrent 25 life sentences, and he eventually died in prison. I believe it was at the age of 69, which good. I mean, he didn't deserve to get out of prison for what he did. So anyways, that we know is true. What we also know is true is the Lutz family purchased the house, it was about a year later, for $80,000, and they knew what had happened there, but they were getting such a good deal on the house, and it seemed like a great location for their new house for their family. It was Mr. and Mrs. Lutz and 3 children of Mrs. Lutz from previous marriage. And no sooner than they got there that these strange things started happening. And this is where we get into, well, is it true or is it not true? But we'll cover that at the end. Let me tell you a little bit about some of the occurrences that happened at the house. But first, I'm going to give you a minute to hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, set yourself up for notifications so you don't miss another episode of me and the Crawling Handsy. I don't think this is working out, Handsy. Sorry. Here you go, Edgar. Hold on to him. Thank you. Well, that's disgusting. Anyways, tell your friends to like and subscribe as well so they don't miss another episode. And I thank you in advance. Alright, so here are some of the supposedly paranormal activities that the Lutzes experienced while at this house. But just one fact is known that George Lutz had a history of dabbling in the occult, so he had a knowledge of the occult. But George woke up every day at 3:15. Never did that before, and that was around the time that that Ron carried out his first murder, or his murder spree started. And then on several occasions there was this ooze. It first started in the bathroom or in the toilet area, where this black ooze was on the toilet. No matter what they did to clean it, it they just couldn't get it clean no matter what chemicals they put on it. And it also had a strange odor to it. And then at one point they had green slime oozing out of the walls and keyholes. And at one point it was crawling up, the ooze was oozing up the stairs towards them. And they also had, they encountered several cold spots in the house. And George, at one point, no matter how much wood he threw on the fire, he just couldn't get warm no matter how hot the house was because of these cold spots. And when they first moved into the house, they had a priest come and bless the house for them. And allegedly, the priest, while blessing the house, heard a voice that said, "Get out." And apparently he never told anybody about that till later. But he quickly blessed the house and got out of there. And then he also told them later on, after he got a hold of them, was to stay out of the sewing room and the playroom, because this is the very evil part of the house. And when they told the children to stay out of the sewing room, the youngest said, "I know, that's where Jody is," and that was one of the children that perished. And that Jody was an imaginary friend she was talking to, or a pig that she was talking to. Other things that happened at the house, a nearby garage was opening and closing. They had invisible spirit knocking a knife down in the kitchen. They saw a pig-like creature in the upstairs window with the red eyes. You know that from the movie. And also levitation of George's wife, Kathy, where she levitated off the bed one night, and also the sons Daniel and Christopher also levitated together off their beds. And another incident they had was one day while Kathy was stacking canned goods on a shelf downstairs, apparently the shelf gave way from the weight, and they discovered a hidden room back there, 20 foot by 20 foot room, and it was all painted in red that George described as smelling of blood. So that's a few of the many things that happened there. Now, after I take a break here, I'm going to tell you what came out of this. Of course, one thing was, after 28 days they skedaddled and got out of there. So here's after the break, a little bit more about what came after they left the house. So in the aftermath, of course, once people heard about this, all the paranormal investigators wanted to come to the house and hold seances. And Ed and Lorraine Warren were one of the groups that came out there. And they held 3 seances that was supposed to be on national TV on New York's Channel 5. And after it, there was most people said some vague comments about it, but Lorraine Warren, I'll read this, was unequivocal when she said, "Whatever is here is, in my estimation, most definitely of a negative nature. It has nothing to do with anyone who had once walked the earth in human form. It is right from the bowels of the earth. It doesn't have to stay here, but I think it's a resting place." Again, very vague, really not saying anything about what happened in the house itself, or that it was because of Ron, and the shooting spree he went on. Also, the rumor is that it was built on sacred Indian ground as well. But what would you expect? They went, They did their seances. Nothing really happened. This is me, what I feel happened. So they came up with these vague statements, just to not to cover their butts, but to lend credence to what they believed happened there, because they believed, Ed, or not Ed, but they believed the Lutzes in their story, and they even rumored to have passed a lie detector test. Now, another after effect of this is it made a pretty damn good movie. And let's see here, it made $86 million at the box office when it came out in 1979, and was one of the highest grossing independent films until 1990. And of course it starred Margot Kidder, James Brolin in it as well, and it spawned a lot of sequels. Even Ryan Reynolds gave his hand at it, and sequels. Anyways, but it did come out, it did spawn a very good book, very good movie. So we did get something positive out of this. Now, the validity to what happened there, well, it's pretty much been knocked around and knocked down. But I had told you that they passed a lie detector test. After the movie and all that, there was a lot of legal issues between them and the homeowner of the house that had it when the movie came out. And interesting enough, anybody that owned the house after the Lutzes have not experienced anything at all in the house, and they've lived happy lives in the house without any occurrences. And the Lutzes needed money at the time, so they had a reason to sell this fantastical story. And even the Lutzes' former lawyer, William Weber, and of course there was a falling out between the Lutzes and him over money, said that in 1979 he claimed that the three of them came up with the horror story over many bottles of wine. And the son lives in Queens, New York now, and claims the house ruined his life, and that he continues to have nightmares to this day. So, maybe he's not given up on the story. And well, that's it, folks. That's the true story of the Amityville horror. Believe it or not, or believe part of it. You got to believe the beginning part, because what Ron did was a horrible thing. After that, I think, they made some money off of it. They made a lot of enemies. And the Lutzes, lives were pretty much ruined over this. And if they made the whole thing up, which it looks like they did, deservedly so. So I hope you liked what you saw. Please take a moment, hit the subscribe, hit the like, ring the bell, set yourself up for notifications so you don't miss another episode. And please, please, please tell your friends to like and subscribe as well. I'm Mr. Beelzebub. This is the crawling handsy. Yes. Oh, God, that's horrible. And behind me is Edgar P. Where has that hand been? Come on. Edgar P. the Scully. And we will talk to you later.